Chris, just like spring cleaning around the house, we can also avoid stress by tidying up our relationships. And joining us live in the studio this morning to tell us how is licensed mental health therapist Anika J. Owens. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Tara.
So tell us about winter. This can really have an effect on relationships?
Yeah, winter can have some effect on relationships because you're not really having a lot of movement in your relationship. So yeah, winter can actually impact the mood of your relationship.
Is this because of some cluttering, or kind of tell us about the decluttering process?
Well, let's think about during the winter season, let's think about like in terms of house cleaning. A lot of buildup, a lot of clutter in your relationship. You can also experience a lot of clutter. Clutter can be in the form of avoidance. Clutter can be in the form of finding fault. Clutter can also be in the form of criticism and defensiveness.
And so how do you go about decluttering in a relationship?
Well, you first have to actually acknowledge. A lot of times if you don't have that awareness that you're avoiding things in your relationship, so when you think about decluttering in a relationship, instead of avoiding, you're confronting the issues. It's not so much confrontationally, but in a way that you can move on to something else.
So it's, I guess, a lot of communication would need to take place.
Absolutely. A lot of communication would take place. You know, and then you have finding fault. Finding fault can, cause your relationship to be cluttered. But on the opposite end of finding fault is seeking solutions. Sometimes we stay stuck and we're always looking for someone to blame in our relationships. So the opposite of, finding fault is seeking solutions in your relationships.
So what would you do? You would communicate these things. You would tell your partner how you're feeling, and then what goes from there.
Right. Communication is key in every situation, because communication is the roadway to intimacy. And when we block communication, we block intimacy.
And so the way to, I guess, after you move on to the intimacy part, where do you go from there?
Okay, you want to continue to do the self-awareness, because like we talked about in terms of like criticisms, criticism also clutters your relationship. And on the opposite end of that, you declutter by offering compliments. So often we don't take the time to look for opportunities to compliment our partners. So you have to look for opportunities to compliment your partner, basically saying thanks for taking out the trash, or thanks for cooking dinner. Those things we don't often look for opportunities to compliment our partners. It's easy to find fault and criticize, but it's a little harder to kind of find opportunities to compliment your partner, those basic things.
And it's amazing how far a little small compliment will go.
It inspires. You think about when we compliment our children, they are inspired. It enforces a good behavior.
All right, Anika, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.